everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. On today's show, mid-season games in Saudi, what that could look like for Manchester United and how quickly it's going to be announced, with some Manchester United players on the sidelines not getting enough game time. Is it the right move to go and take that money and play mid-season games, mid-season friendlies in Saudi Arabia? No Europe for Manchester United. It's been a huge blow, and that means some of the squad has stagnated. They are not match sharp. Is it a good idea to go over there, get the money to potentially pump that into the January transfer window as well? We know Manchester United, if they are going to spend money, are going to have to take money from the summer budget into January if that's what they want to do and sign players then. I think we desperately need to sign. I don't know what the market's going to be like. I don't know if there's going to be the right players available, and would I rather be patient and wait for the right profile? In a sense, yes, but I also look at Manchester United's team and there's three glaringly obvious issues: the midfield, the left wing back, and what we're going to do up front if Benjamin Sesko is injured. Now, I want to have my say on Joshua Zirkzee as well. I think he needs more game time, but Ahmad could be at AFCON and Mbeumo could be at AFCON. How are we going to manage that forward line? Are we going to go into the market for that? Well, these Saudi games could give us a big pump of money to ensure that we can spend a little in January, whether that's just a loan, whether that's a loan with an option to buy. And who would you want to go and get in as well? Get your comments in down below. We're also going to touch on Benjamin Sesko. There's been a little bit of an injury update for him, with more expected to follow. How is that going to have a knock-on effect to the January window? Ruben Amorim himself said they might have to look to that to try and boost the squad. It's been very difficult with only having one game a week, but if Sesko is injured, we'll have to look at that January window. Who is actually available on the market? I want to talk about Elliot Anderson. Fantastic again at the weekend. We have to go and get him. If Ben Jacobs is right, that you can get him out of there for a decent price. If you watch the Ben Jacobs show last week on the show, he said, and I'll ask him about it a little bit more this Thursday as well, he said that Elliot Anderson could be gotten out of Nottingham Forest for significantly lower than what is expected. We have to go and get him. And a little bit on Bryan Mbeumo. Where would we be without him? I think that's a genuine question. Where would we be without Bryan Mbeumo, and how much of a hit are we going to take if he is out at AFCON for a long period of time? Because his stats are absolutely fantastic. And then also a few more transfer updates as well. Thank you everybody for getting your comments in. Smash a like on the video, get involved in the poll as well. Really want to have your say in here today and get interactive, because there actually is still quite a lot to talk about, considering that we are in the international break. We've got a lot of topics to discuss. So let's get into the first little bit of news here, and it is around the mid-season friendlies. So, Manchester United are expected to announce mid-season friendlies in Saudi Arabia in the coming weeks. With no European football this season, the club are using these friendlies to maintain match sharpness and generate revenue. United's post-season tour in May, Malaysia and Hong Kong, brought in nearly £10 million. And £10 million of money coming to that football club. Do not underestimate what that can do. Don't underestimate what it can do regarding the books of Manchester United going into the transfer window, regarding how it makes our accounts look. It can be really, really important. And I look at it from two different sides. The first side, I look at it and I think, Man United going playing games abroad mid-season when we've got a serious Premier League competition on our hands, it does look like a cash grab, and I can already see there's going to be rival teams like City, Arsenal, Liverpool bantering us for going and doing that. However, the way I look at it is, I think it is perfect right now. Don't get me wrong, we should never be in a situation where we're out of Europe. Manchester United should be in Europe every single season. We should be in the Champions League every single season, but if not the Champions League, it has to be Europa League. We should be there. We have failed by not being there. But by not being there, I think it's absolutely perfect that we go over to Saudi Arabia and play professional games. You have Cristiano Ronaldo out there saying that he thinks it's more competitive than the Portuguese league, than the French league. These are European leagues that the Premier League regularly sign players from and embed into the Premier League. So he's saying, he actually said it's more difficult for him to score in the Saudi Pro League, than it is in La Liga. He bigs it up massively, Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's played in multiple leagues. He's played in Serie A, he's played in the Premier League, he's played in La Liga. He knows what it's about. So why not test ourselves? One, you have players like Kobbie Mainoo, Joshua Zirkzee, Ugarte. He actually got a little bit of time on the pitch against Spurs, but again, you could see not match sharp. And these players are practically falling asleep on the bench. They're getting no time. I think people forget Joshua Zirkzee was one of our most important players last season. He got an injury. In my opinion, that was a big contributing factor in costing us the Europa League. I think if he would have played in that game, we would have had a lot more of a chance. And suddenly he's written off because we've brought Sesko and he's getting no game time because Ruben Amorim wants to play Sesko because he's the big money signing and he's the future. So Joshua Zirkzee isn't getting a look in because you have Cunha, you have Mbeumo, you have Mount who he really likes. So it's an opportunity for these sort of players to step up and prove themselves. These players, when they are introduced into games, don't have any match sharpness. And you can train all you want. If you're not playing competitive football matches, you are going to fall a little bit behind. Look at how much it's impacted Alexander Isak. Not having a pre-season and not playing competitive games, Alexander Isak has gone from being, like, people talking about whether he's better than Erling Haaland. Last season, there was genuine conversations, me and Maud had them on the show, of who is a better striker, Erling Haaland or Alexander Isak. And look at what Erling Haaland's doing this season and look at what Alexander Isak's doing this season. And Alexander Isak is nowhere to be seen. Okay, yeah, he's had some injuries, but that's probably down to the fact he had no pre-season and no match sharpness either. Erling Haaland, thoroughly prepared, ready to go, match sharp, fit, firing, and is one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in the world right now. That's the difference, right, about what match sharpness and fitness and consistency can do to you. And these are two very, very high-level players. I'm not saying our players are at that level, but it can have a massive, massive impact. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. And if these players aren't getting any competitive minutes, it's going to affect them. I mean, Paul Scholes said on a podcast recently that he thinks Kobbie Mainoo is suffering from the fact that he's not got regular game time, regular minutes. He said Paul Scholes is one of the best midfielders that's ever played the game. Genuinely is. And he said it used to take him 5-6 games to get into the swing of things. 4 games. So to expect players to come on and just magically make an impact, it's tough. It really is tough, especially when you've been thrown into periods of the games that have different energy levels, and to get that rhythm, it's difficult. So I think a big reason why I am massively in favour of going playing these mid-season friendlies, and you can call me a cash-grabbing fan all you want. I want to see Manchester United play more football. 1 game a week is killing me right now. It gets to like a Monday or a Tuesday. I'm like, where's the next game of football? So I want to see more football from Manchester United. I love watching my team play, no matter what the circumstances. And also, I want to see the players that I think actually do have a bit of potential, but aren't actually getting a look in from Ruben Amorim, step up and show what they've got about them and potentially give Ruben Amorim something to think about. And of course, on top of all that, the money is massive. The money really is massive. Bringing that amount of money in through mid-season friendlies, it helps us boost our chances of getting a midfielder or a left wing-back or a forward, whether that be in January, whether that be in the summer. It boosts the revenue and it helps our books. And all of that is tick, tick, tick across the board. So, yeah, if you just set it on paper, United are going out to Saudi to play some games mid-season for a bit of money. Football fans with no context might look at it and go, oh, just a cash grab. Oh, what are they doing that for? Oh, it's all commercial. But if you actually take a step back and look at the context of the situation, it literally is all positive. I try and find a negative. I mean, tell me in the comments a negative, what could be. Travelling might impact injuries. Players travel for international breaks. What's the difference there? Do you know what I mean? So we travel for Europe. If we're playing in Europe, we're travelling. And we're not in Europe this season. There isn't an argument you can put to me that I'd sit here and say, yeah, you're right, we actually shouldn't do that. We need to be playing more games. Players need more minutes. We need more money. I think we should be doing it. And do you know what? If we could actually get a game against Ronaldo as well, that's even more inclination to do it. And I know you might say that is very, very commercial, but I'd love to see it. You know, it puts something on the line, like getting excited, getting up for a game, you know, being excited to go and watch your team play. I'd like to see it. And, you know, we can add another trophy to our list. Do you remember when we won the trophy over in Thailand in pre-season against Liverpool? We won the Premier League Series trophy in pre-season in the summer. Let's add a trophy to the list with that, with playing the games in Saudi. Mid-season friendlies in Saudi, yes or no? Get your votes down in the poll and let me know your feelings. I've made my feelings very, very clear. Haider Ali says, if Conor Gallagher is the plan, I will wait. I want to have your opinions in on this very, very shortly as well. So, yeah, get your opinions in on the midfield situation. I actually was talking to my brother earlier about this because I was watching Goldbridge's morning show and he was saying we have to go and get Conor Gallagher. If it's Conor Gallagher or nothing, we have to go and get him because he doesn't want to use Ugarte and he doesn't want to use Manu. And I get it. I get the point because you could see when Ugarte came on against Spurs, he was a bit out of his depth. And I'm going to be so honest, as much as I want Ugarte to work, he's another player where I think you'd need patience and a lot of game time, and United aren't in the position to give out patience and give out a lot of game time. When I see Ugarte warming up to come on, I get worried. I get worried because I know he can't hold a midfield the same way Casemiro can. So I understand wanting to go for a player that could be a slight improvement on that you have a bit more confidence in, but at the same time, if it takes away money from going getting the likes of an Anderson or a top quality midfielder in the summer, then I am slightly against it. I'm like, can we just hold out? We are only playing one game a week, can we? And that's a question that I ask you guys. If it was Conor Gallagher or nothing, would you go for it? If that impacted on the potential of being able to sign an Anderson and a Stiller or an Anderson and a Wharton or that sort of calibre of player. We were linked to João Gomes this morning. I seen on Goldbridge's show, and I don't want to really repeat a lot of that, but I also messaged my brother and said, thoughts on João Gomes from Wolves being linked to us. I think he's a pretty decent player. When we were first linked to him, before Wolves signed him, I liked him. I did a lot of research on him because we were doing shows about the fact he's a midfielder we were linked to. He replied saying, don't think he's elite and would rather say for a proper midfielder. Watched Anderson versus Leeds yesterday and he's genuinely elite. I think he has to start for England. So good. That is where we should be going. And as much as I think João Gomes could do a job, he is right. Like, Anderson's that next step up. Anderson's Man United. If we went and signed João Gomes, I would actually welcome him into the football club. I think he's got something to give and I really like his attitude as well. He's one of the players that's really stood up while Wolves have been going through a tough time. And I know the Wolves fans love him. But there is levels to the game and United should always be hitting the top level. And Anderson is what falls into that category. You're going to have to wait for the summer for Anderson. And there's reasons why you're going to have to wait for the summer for Anderson. And it's because he's top quality. So it's difficult. It's difficult. It really is. If signing a Gallagher impacted on being able to get Anderson in the summer, I wouldn't do it. If we could still get both, I would do it because it fills that gap that we need to fill. But sometimes patience is a virtue and sometimes good things come to those who wait. And we've before signed stopgaps and it's not worked out. I remember, it was in the summer, but Man United's top target was João Neves. That's who we wanted to go for the midfield. We didn't want to go and pay the money that Benfica wanted. It was big money. I think they were asking for around £100 million-ish at the time. We didn't want to go and pay that. So we negotiated with PSG for Ugarte. We got Ugarte for around, late 50s, 60 mil. And I don't want to go in on Ugarte here because I was actually really excited about that signing at the time, what he'd done at Sporting. I just didn't think he was suited to Luis Enrique and I really did think he would work in the transition football Ten Hag was trying to play. And then I thought when Amorim came in, he was going to work under Amorim because Amorim made him that elite Sporting midfielder. He's got attributes that can be utilised. His stats were off the scale when he was at Sporting Lisbon. So I was excited about him. But our top target through our scouting was João Neves, and we didn't want to pay the money, so we paid a bit less for Ugarte. You don't end up getting João Neves, who is, in my opinion, world class, and now Ugarte isn't starting games for us. Sometimes it's just worth waiting and paying the money that is required, because Ugarte didn't even end up starting under Ten Hag at first. He didn't, and he only really started getting game time when Ten Hag left, and Van Nistelrooy started using him a bit more and then Amorim started using him a bit more. So sometimes it is worth waiting and just paying the money for the top class player. But let me know who you would go for and if you would sign that stopgap signing. I'm not sat here saying we 100% have to go for Gallagher because if not, then what's going to happen? I admit, Gallagher is probably one of the only realistic signings we can make in January in the midfield. But I'm not 100% sold on him as a profile. Would he get used more than Ugarte? Probably. but I don't think it's an absolute game changer, and I don't want it to affect us being able to buy a game changer in the summer. But then, if it's the difference between Champions League or not, that's huge as well, because Champions League equals more money. If you sign Gallagher and he's able to step up and save us some points towards the end of the season, we end up clutching that 5th place and we get Champions League football, then he's worth everything that we paid, because you've got way more money to spend in the summer and it's massive for us. So it swings and roundabouts, and it's whether you want to take that risk. Lee Cape Town says, "Hi Beth, did everyone forget Man Utd took Gallagher's place in the Euros? So no thanks, we must stop being mediocre as fans need to inspire for the best." And I was just about to say, I don't think Gallagher can do much more than what Kobbie Mainoo can do. He's probably a little bit more mobile, but I think Kobbie Mainoo's way better technically. I don't think Gallagher's a poor player, but I don't think he's game-changing. I don't think he's an upgrade on what we have. So why are we going and doing it? That's what my question would be. Lee Cape Town says, "I understand the context of you trying to explain, but here is the question. What's the use if you are going to start a Bruno or Cassie before Mainoo?" And I understand that, Lee Cape Town. Haydar says, "Our biggest issue is controlling games, and Gallagher is the solution, ? Would rather try Sekou, Kone and Mainoo, expect the hoofball." Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from on that one, but everyone's got a different outlook and perspective on this. But yeah, interesting topics. But Anderson, by the way, Elliot Anderson, just to get it in there, there's no update on him. If anyone watched him versus Leeds at the weekend, just absolutely elite. I didn't manage to watch the whole game, but I watched chunks. So good. So good. Arguably should be starting for England, genuinely. I'm going to be watching England very, very closely, because I want to see Anderson get game time, and I think he could really be a massive question mark for Thomas Tuchel as how does he fit into your England midfield, and is he going to start? He's playing that well. Just like Kobbie Mainoo was a headache for Gareth Southgate last season, I think Elliot Anderson's going to be a headache for Thomas Tuchel. And it's funny, isn't it, where Mainoo is now, and hopefully Anderson continues on that upwards trajectory and we end up signing him and he becomes one of the best midfielders in the Premier League at Manchester United, because I think he's actually capable of that from what I'm seeing at the moment, and I don't want to go overboard. So in kind of cohesion with that, I wanted to bring in That's Football watch along. England will be playing on Thursday. They will be playing Serbia, 7:45 kickoff. Make sure you're there on That's Football. Elliot Anderson watch, and England international break. Goldbridge will be doing a watch along. Make sure you are there to watch it, even if you're not an England fan, because I know a lot of people from the community watch from all over the world. Elliot Anderson is in the squad. It's good to scout him, good to have a look, see if he gets some game time. So be there and go and watch it on That's Football. We've got more super chats coming in. I'm going to give an injury update on Sesko after this very, very shortly. Ron McCormack says, "Think Mark thinks he benches Casemiro, and I can't see it." I don't think Gallagher benches Casemiro. No. It's interesting, actually, and maybe I need to get Goldbridge on a show. And everyone's entitled to their own opinions, and, I might be wrong, he might be right, but I actually think Casemiro has been one of our best players recently. I think Casemiro is the glue that holds this team together right now. I mean, part of it, I think he is really important. I think Ahmad's really important, Mbeumo's really important, De Ligt's really important. I'd argue Luke Shaw's really important. I know a lot of people don't like to say that, but they're the ones for me that are really, mainstays in this team. Senny Lammens made a huge impact, of course, and we're going to speak about him in a little bit as well. A huge boost for him when it comes to Belgium international duty. But I think Casemiro is massive for us. Every time he comes off the pitch, we look worse. If you just look at the goals conceded with him on the pitch, without him on the pitch, 13 without him, 5 with him, the impact he's making on games is in-game intelligence. And I am not one of them people that will just sit on my pride for so long. I once sat here on this show and said Casemiro needs to go. I think I even said I don't know if he can play for us again. There was a period where he was that poor. But credit to him, I don't know what's happened, whether it's the coach, whether it's the training he's done behind the scenes. We all know he's been a world-class central defensive midfielder in his time. The trophies he's won and the career he's had is just absolutely fantastic. No one can ever discredit that, but there was a time where Carragher said it, leave the football before it leaves you. And you can understand what he was saying at the time. But he's revolutionised himself, and okay, yeah, he can't do it for more than probably 60, 70 minutes once a week. And yeah, we do need to be looking at long-term replacements, but now I'm in a situation where I think, how do you replace him? because he's playing that well. I think he's doing really good, Casemiro, and I actually think it's going to be really hard to replace him in this team at this moment in time. But let me know your thoughts on that. I don't know if Gallagher is the answer, though. I was kind of thinking, oh, should we get him because there's no one else and he can do a job and his heart is definitely in it. He's got the passion, he's got the work rate, but I don't know. I don't even see him as an upgrade on McTominay, and McTominay left years ago. So we'll see what Manchester United end up doing anyway with that one. Just to bring up the Sesko injury news. Hold on, got an itchy nose there. So Sesko injury news is this. This is coming from Chris Wheeler at the Daily Mail. Benjamin Sesko's strike partner for Slovenia says that they don't expect Manchester United's star to report for international duty and that Slovenia will have to do without him. United expected to give an update on Sesko's knee injury later today. I don't want to put any information out there that is false. There is rumours that it could be up to 5 weeks. We'll have to wait to see what Manchester United do say. That is just rumours. I'm not saying I've got that from anywhere official. But he's not going to Slovenia, it looks like. Not great for Manchester United. Not great at all. As much as, and again, I don't want to go too much into detail with this, but as much as Benjamin Sesko has not had the immediate impact that I would have liked in this Manchester United side, there is genuinely fans and people out there that have just completely written off his Manchester United career. How many games? How many full games has he played for Manchester United? How many full 90 minutes has Benjamin Sesko played for Manchester United? I would love to know. And he's not completely settled yet. He's 22 years of age. Like, have we not learned from our past mistakes? Is Benjamin Sesko, so far, the weakest Manchester United signing of the summer? Yes, he is. Because Senny Lammens, the proof is in the pudding with the results. I mean, it's not hard to be an upgrade on what we had, but he's a huge upgrade on what we had, and he's doing really well, really comfortable. I think he's exceeding expectations. And Mbeumo is probably one of the best forward players in the league. I would argue right now the best right winger in the league. And Dye's doing really well. But I would argue currently best right winger in the league, and put arguments out there for anybody else that is better than him. His goal contributions are ridiculous, and he's a hard worker, and his overall play is fantastic. United without him this season, I think we'd be struggling to score as many goals as we have. He's been fantastic. He's levels above. So he's been amazing. And you know, when you sign a player from the Premier League that's just scored 20 goals, that's the kind of output you get. So Premier League proven does help. Experienced does help. Going into their prime does help. Character does help. You know, breaking through barriers does help. He's played in the Championship. He's worked his way up to the Premier League and he's smashed in 20 goals last season. That, you know, 2 + 2 adds 4. Just look at the trajectory of these players. Cunha has had a couple of iffy games. However, you can see what he's made of. He's done it in the Prem before. And that Liverpool performance, you know, stays clear in everyone's minds. He was man of the match and fantastic. And Sesko has scored a couple of goals. He's looked decent in parts, but he's also looked poor in parts. So I think the only reason people may be going in on Sesko a bit is because our recruitment in other areas is paid off really, really well. And Sesko's young, he's adapting. I don't think Amrim's got 100% confidence in him, and he can probably feel that. It's a tough league to adapt to. You can tell he's just taking a little bit too much time in thinking what he's going to do, his touches, his runs, when he's got the ball, and that's just adjustment. People jumping on his back and saying he's not good enough, why have we signed him, another flop, that's not going to help the situation. He needs patience. We've signed him for a reason. Arsenal were linked to him consistently for a long time for a reason. He was Arteta's first choice, and he's been very highly scouted across Europe for a reason. Just give him a little bit of time. The issue at United is we don't have time. And that's why a lot of us advocated for an experienced Premier League striker in the summer, because Højlund needed time, we weren't able to give it him. And the pressure got too much. I don't want Sesko to follow in the same direction. So we didn't end up going for an experienced Premier League striker, which is, I think, would have been the best route, or an experienced striker in general. I think that would have been the best route for results now, and Amrim's made it clear he wants plays for the now. That's been briefed multiple times. Therefore, you've got to give him some patience. But Amrim doesn't have time for patience, and you can tell he's not 100% sold as he keeps switching up his front line, and that probably translates to the player a little bit. So let's just give him some time. Let's not get too much on his back. And I even saw people criticising him for getting injured, and I think that's really, really unfair for the player. Amorim has said publicly how good of an attitude he has and how much he wants to learn. So let's just get behind him as a player. But my issue is what happens while he's out? Well, there's a few options Manchester United have, and I'm going to come to a couple more super chats in a second. Options that Manchester United have is play Joshua Zirkzee, which Amorim seems really reluctant to do. And I wanted to bring this point in on Joshua Zirkzee. I made it on the fans forum at the weekend if you didn't catch it, but I want to kind of reiterate right now. I've been thinking about it over the weekend, and I've been talking to my friends about this and my family as well. Football chat is just ongoing all the time. And Joshua Zirkzee deserves more game time at United. Even without Sesko's injury, he deserves more game time at United. But now Benjamin Sesko is injured, he needs to be given a chance. I have a feeling that Ruben Amorim is going to go to Cunha up front with Mount and Mbeumo in behind if Sesko isn't fit. A good front three, a very good front three, and I won't be against it. I think Mason Mount played really well when he came on against Spurs, and he should have had an assist to Sesko, actually. That assist he got injured in, unfortunately. But Joshua Zirkzee, I think people forget, his link-up play is fantastic. His hold-up play is good. He's physical, he's got a good first touch. I would love to see him be given the opportunity with Mbeumo making runs off him, Cunha there linking up with him, who's also technically good on the ball, Ahmad making them runs in behind, breaking the lines. I think Joshua Zirkzee is that facilitating number 9 would work really well. I don't know why Amorim's so reluctant to use him. I want to see him play with the likes of Mbeumo. I want to see him play with the likes of Cunha, the likes of Ahmad. I really think he needs to be given that opportunity. Crystal Palace is coming up soon. Do you remember that game at Selhurst Park? And I think it was a 1-1. And Zirkzee was man of the match. He was fantastic. He was one of our best players towards the end of last season. And I get we finished 15th, but we were begging him for him to be back for the Europa League final because he was that important. So I don't think we should massively write Joshua Zirkzee off. I really don't. He was adapting last season. This season, he's not even had a look in. And he's not been given a fair crack of the whip, in my opinion. And he has got attributes that we can utilise. You know, not every striker has to be a 20-goal-a-season poacher. You can be a facilitating number 9. You can be the likes of a Bobby Firmino type striker. And even like Anthony Martial, he was brilliant at it. I don't think Zirkzee's on Martial's level when Martial was at his best. But just having that facilitating player when you've got the likes of the Mbeumo's, the Amads and Cunha's around you. Also, I want to put this to everyone. I think Cunha is much better playing in the 10 than as a striker. At Wolves, he was better in the 10 as a striker. Atletico Madrid, the same. And at Manchester United, his better performances, I think, are when he drops deeper into that 10 role. He's a ball carrier. And yeah, he needs to pass it a little bit quicker and he needs to not try and do it all on his own. But sometimes I think he's wasted playing up front for us. So I'd like to see Zirkzee get a bit of time. That's one option we can go down. And the other option you can go down is in that January transfer window, do you go and try and get somebody in? But who do you go and get in? What strikers are actually available on the market? And that's where I'd like you to get in the comments. Do you think we enter the January window for a striker, for a forward player? Or do you go with the likes of Zirkzee? Do you even bring, potentially, dare I say it, Shea Lacey into the mix, who apparently is impressing in England training, in Man United training, who is the next player to break onto the scene? Is it opportunity for him to come in and play one of them 10 roles, and then you play in Mbeumo or a Mount up front as well? I think Mount actually has played the false 9 really well at times under Amorim. So I think we've got options, but I expect Mason Mount to be used a lot more. I expect Zirkzee to be used, and I want him to be used and be given a fair opportunity. And I wouldn't go against saying Shea Lacey could come into the mix, whether that's even on the bench. And he's someone that we should really keep an eye on coming through the academy for Manchester United. So let's see what happens there. I much prefer Cunha in the 10, though. I'm going to put that out there. I really want to see Cunha play in his best position because I think he's been stifled a little bit by not being able to do so. Haydar Ali says, I personally think Cunha's the weakest. Apart from Arsenal, there's no game he played well in, both halves. Didn't miss pre-season and he's prem proven. He was man of the match against Liverpool, Hayder. So, yeah, okay, he's had some poor games. I thought against Forest he was poor. I think against Spurs he was poor. But I also think he's maybe trying to do a little bit too much at times, trying to overcompensate. Obviously, Mbeumo's doing really well and getting all the headlines. That might be something to do with it, but they seem like really good friends behind the scenes as well. You can tell Cunha just wants the best and his heart is in the right place. He's so passionate. But we know Cunha's quality. Like, we've seen Cunha's quality last season. He just needs to settle and play in his best position, which is in the 10, and not try and do everything himself and trust his teammates, I think. I think once he's settled and the team is on a consistent run, Cunha will start to come to life a little bit. Lee Cape Town says, our biggest problem with our midfield is not being able to hold the ball. Casemiro can't do that anymore. That is why he's doing one touch, and Bruno is Bruno. We sometimes need to hold the ball to alleviate the pressure, and we can't. One thing I will absolutely agree with, and this is another reason why I think Man Utd needs more game time, we do not have a ball carrier playing deep in our midfield. Cunha is our best ball carrier by a mile. He can accelerate, turn away from players, leave them for dead, carrying the ball at his feet and drive up the pitch. When he's playing as a striker, you don't get that as much in the midfield. When he's playing as a 10, he can drop in and help do that, and it makes a massive difference. Bruno can't carry the ball, really. He's not got that switch of pace. He's got a lot of other good attributes, but he's not a ball carrier at all. Casemiro, like you said, you know, he's not a ball carrier anymore. As good as he is, and I still think he's probably our best midfielder at holding the midfield together. Well, he is. It's not even a question. He is our best midfielder to play that deep line role right now. He can't carry the ball. He turns really slow. You can tell that. I think, you know, sometimes he turns as if he's got a load of bricks on his back. I still think he's been one of our best players this season, but he's not a ball carrier right now. And he's not going to be either. Bruno and him aren't going to do that. When you're playing Cunha up front, you lose having someone in that midfield to carry the ball. Man Utd can do it. I've seen Man Utd do it. I've seen him turn away from players. I've seen him dribble out of tight spaces. Why he doesn't get more opportunity, I have no idea. We are absolutely missing a ball carrier. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Ian Tracy says it has to be worth trying Zirkzee as a striker. Both Cunha and Mbeumo are better as 10s. They can also make runs in behind, and Ally can stay at times as well. I completely agree with Ian. I feel like Amram's just written off Zirkzee as he has to be a number 10. But we've seen him play at striker for United and have good games. Like, we've seen it happen. Cunha's better as a 10, yet you've put him at striker. Mount's a midfielder practically, yet you've put him at striker. Zirkzee can do it, and he needs an opportunity. M. Parker, don't know what you said, but it's been deleted, so who knows? I probably don't want to know, to be fair. Last thing I want to just quickly bring into the comments, by the way, into the show, before we wrap up, is Real Madrid goalkeeper Courtois has suffered an adductor longus injury in his leg. Courtois will miss Belgium's upcoming games with club staff to reassess him after the break, and this opens the door for Senny Lammens potentially to make his senior debut. How good would it be to see Senny Lammens make his senior debut for Belgium? I would love to see it. That will boost his confidence even further. He settled in super well to United, calming presence, and really has impressed me. And I was advocating for Emi Martinez in the summer out of the two options, but Senny Lammens has really shut me up and done really well. I genuinely couldn't ask for any more from him. He's really exceeded expectations for me, and as a young goalkeeper coming into the club, he's one of the positives to take out of this season. And I wish we would have had him from game week 1 against Arsenal, but we are where we are now, and hopefully that if he does get that call up to start and make his senior debut for Belgium, he takes it with both hands like he did with United, and it boosts his confidence even further, which is exciting for Manchester United as well. Thoroughly deserved for Senny Lammens if he does get that. And also, this is an interesting stat I wanted to finish you off on. Brian Mbeumo, right? Only Erling Haaland with 14 and Danny Welbeck with 6. By the way, Erling Haaland, crazy, has scored more non-penalty goals in the Premier League than Brian Mbeumo this season. Mbeumo has 5. So only Welbeck and Haaland have scored more non-penalty goals than Brian Mbeumo this season. United are still conceding goals, but we're scoring more goals than we are last season. Why do you think that is? Oh, because we've added a world-class forward in Brian Mbeumo. Levels He's so good. I seen Maud say on the forum, and at first I thought it was a bit like out there, that he could be our best post-Fergie signing apart from Bruno, and genuinely could be. And I know it's so early to say that, but the impact that he's had on this team and will continue to have, I feel like, because he's shown it consistently for multiple seasons, has been massive. We really did get that one right. So, and again, I think we're going to see the impact of not having him when he goes to AFCON. I don't know how long Cameroon will stay in it. They've got to play Ivory Coast, which is Ahmad's team, apparently. So I think he's going to be a huge absence when he's gone. I think he's low-key, quietly becoming one of the Premier League's most efficient forwards, best forwards. I really do. And I think we will feel it when he goes. So I don't know how we're going to cope with that, but people might start to put a little bit more respect on his name when that does happen. United fans value him. And I think we all understand how good he's been, but I don't know if he's got as much credit as he deserves across the whole Premier League. I tweeted the other day that I think he's signed of the summer so far, up there with the likes of Granit Xhaka, who's had a massive impact on Sunderland, and people are laughing at me. Other football fans were laughing at me. I was like, what's funny? The impact he's had on United has been massive, absolutely huge. He's so good, and hopefully that just continues. It's not just the output in terms of goals, it's the work ethic he has as well. And sometimes I'm seeing him passing, I'm seeing him making runs, and there's people not actually on his level. The amount of passes he's put into players, and he's kind of broke down a little bit, but hopefully we'll all start to gel. You've got to remember, it is 3 new forward players as well. Cunha and Mbumo, Sesko, never played together. They are settling, they are combining and getting that chemistry. And Mbumo and Ahmad both are kind of getting that as well. The team's got a gel. They've not played together before, and other forwards across the league have had the pleasure and the advantage of playing together a little bit more than what we have had. So it's going to take time, and it's just going to keep getting better, I would like to hope and think as well. Saka, best right winger in the Prem. Saka and Mbumo are competing for it. I still think I'd rather have Mbumo. As good as Saka is, and I think Saka's fantastic, I think I'd just rather have Mbumo. Maybe that's my Manchester United bias, though. Ian Tracy says it has to be worth trying Zirkzee as a striker. We've done that one. And last but not least, mid-season friendlies in Saudi, yes or no? 64% of you say yes. So, yeah, most of you in agreement with us, but not as big as I thought it would be. Interesting. I'd love to know why. Krishna says Mbumo's being credited. That's why he won Player of the Month. Yeah, true. A lot of United fans are voting for that, though, aren't they? But I just, to be fair, I keep it quiet. I just think Mbumo isn't maybe getting as much hype as some of the other players in the league, but he's really he's been massive for us. But this is going to turn into the Brian Mbumo, show if I don't show up in a second, because I rate him that highly. But smash a like on the video, everyone. There is some positive to take out of Manchester United going into this international break, but there's also a lot of discussion points. I've just seen a comment come in the chat, Manu being benched over Ugarte. I don't get that either. I do not get that either, because Manu's the better player. But Amram's got these little things that he does that I'm not always on board with, but you have that with every manager, don't you? There's certain things Amram does that I really like and I really love, but there's other things he does which is like always changing his defence in game, playing Ugarte over the likes of Manu, who I think is a miles better player, not playing Manu at all, not giving Zirkzee any opportunity that I don't like. But you're not going to agree with everyone, just how in this community we all talk about United, but we don't always agree. That's just human nature. So it's good for discussion, though. Smash a like on the video if you've not already, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Before you go, make sure you grab your Christmas jumper. Link is in the description. We've had the Christmas songs on in the office today, and I'm getting in the Christmas spirit, so make sure you get your Christmas jumper so you can get in the Christmas spirit too. Haydar with the last super chat. Why doesn't this manager just get another body from anywhere to act as a false third midfielder? Teams do that, get 4 in the midfield. He does it with Mason Mount sometimes. But anyway, guys, that's me wrapping up, and I will see you on the next one.